Hi, and welcome to the Classic Lens Vault. My name is Ringo, this is my co-host Tessa. Hi Tessa. In this show, I'd like to talk about, you might have guessed it already, classic lenses. Lenses that are not the sharpest, but lenses that have their own quirks and charms. In this regard, I think this might be a good contender for the first episode. It's the Schneider-Kreuznach Xenon 40mm f1.9. So first we're going to examine the technical details, then we'll have a look at the image quality, and finally I'll show you some artistic photos I took with this lens. Hope you enjoy it. Now off to the table. So here we are. This is the lens. Thanks Tessa for giving me a hand. It was designed for the robot cameras and introduced in 1940. Although this copy is from 1953. And while I won't talk about cameras in this show, I'd like to make an exception right at the beginning. Because the robot cameras are actually quite special. With this large knob, you stretch a spring motor that is used for opening the shutter and advancing the film. And you could also train your finger muscles with it. So it works like this. And I guess you could do like 5 frames per second with it. Also funny is the second viewfinder here at the side. I don't know if people 60 or 70 years ago liked it to look strange while taking photos, but well, with this you have the possibility to do so. Now back to the lens. The Xenon is an asymmetrical double Gauss design with 6 elements and 5 groups. Its aperture ranges from f1.9 to f16 and it clicks nicely on full stops. As you can see, probably, the aperture looks beautiful, although a bit oily in this case, and it stays round all the time thanks to its 15 blades. The lens will vignette on a full-frame camera since robots have a square format frame. It's 24 by 24 millimeters. But for me that's not a big deal, it adds to the character of the lens, and by stopping down to f8 or f11 maybe, the dark corners are almost gone. What's a bit unfortunate is the minimum focus distance of about 70 centimeters. There's also a later black version of this lens which can focus down to 50 centimeters, but it doesn't have the round aperture anymore. And it's also multi-coated. Well, this one is only single-coated, but again, I think this also adds to the character. All in all, it's a quality lens. It's nice to handle despite the small size. The all-metal housing and the weight of 214 grams let you really feel the quality. There's also a hood available that's pretty large compared to the lens, and generally I don't use hoods, but if you do, you can change the aperture by turning the hood. Okay, so much for the technical details. Let's have a look at the image quality now. Therefore, I'm going to mount it on the Sony Alpha 7, but of course with the help of an adapter. So that's the way. Okay, let's have a look at vignetting first. Wide open, it's pretty pronounced. But once you step down, the image clears up quite nicely. Now, image resolution at infinity focus in the center of the image. At f1.9, resolution is quite good, as you can see in this 200% view. However, contrast is low and there is even chromatic aberration. At f2.8, the aberration is gone and resolution also improves. The same at f4. To me, it's pretty sharp now. At f5.6 and f8, I can't see a lot of improvement, if any at all. and at f11 the image gets already soft again, probably because of diffraction. Now to the edge of the frame, similar to the center, there's low contrast at f1.9, although this helps hiding the chromatic aberration somewhat. Contrast is still quite low at f2.8. f4 looks good to me, and as opposed to the frame center, there's a continuing improvement in resolution up to f11. By the way, I focused on the writing in the center of the frame. Next, we'll have a look at resolution at minimum focus distance, in this case 70 centimeters. Tessa was kind enough to act as a model, and I think she actually has talent. So, wide open, it's a similar result to the one we just observed. Contrast is quite low. At f2.8 there's more of it present, and at f4 the image is definitely sharp. At f5.6 there's still some improvement, while f8 and f11 don't change much. And thanks to the round aperture, the circles in the background stay round all along. In this last test, we look at the starbursts that form while stopping down the aperture, as well as some aberrations at the corner of the frame. I think you can spot coma and astigmatism, but I'm not really sure how to tell them apart. Maybe you could enlighten me on this. Well, as you can see, there are a lot of funky things going on, but regarding the starbursts, they leave something to be desired. Okay, there you have it. So much for the image quality tests. Let's move on to the conclusion. Well, first I have to say it's a remarkable lens. After all, its design is already 75 years old. Considering its practicality, it's a bit challenging, I would say. Maybe you could see it as a LOMO lens, something like their Minitar 1, for example, but with the exception that this is only 1/3 of the price of the Minitar. And if you don't like lomography, you could still stop it down to f4 and get very good normal results. Okay, I'd like to end this episode by showing you some images I took with this lens. Please bear in mind, these are more or less heavily edited and some of them are also cropped. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye.